I see there are a ton of questions in the chat about GrantWell and about Safe Streets and Road for All. So happy to open that up. I think my colleague Mallory is going to help us sort of sift through some of the questions from the chat, and then we'll direct them to Anjeeth and Derek, and I'll take a few, and we'll do what we can to answer.
Awesome. Thanks, Quentin. So this was answered in the chat, but I think it's good to see the question out anyway. We have a question asking, is there a fee or cost for accessing GrantWell?
So the answer is no. It's free and public. So we developed this to support our community partners, and we certainly want people to be able to use it.
Awesome. And in sort of a similar vein, we have one person who asked, will we be required to create an account, login, username, etc., with a Massachusetts address? If Max taxpayers paid to create this tool, will or should it be restricted to Massachusetts municipalities, organizations, residents, etc.?
So there's certain login requirements, and so certainly you'll have to log in. But no, we do not require this to be associated with Massachusetts address. A lot of our thinking behind this was to develop a tool that could be really useful to Massachusetts communities. It emerged from really robust engagement with Massachusetts communities. We've also been working with some of our state agencies to start to pull in some state-specific grants. So this is fit for purpose for this group, for the Massachusetts Federal Funds Partnership. But at the same time, we'd love for some of our colleagues in other states to build off of it, to develop their own state-specific versions of this. And in fact, we had an opportunity. I spoke along with one of Anjeeth's colleagues, Beth Novick, who is a colleague of mine in the White House. We spoke to the group at the National Governors Association and presented this as an opportunity for folks to work to develop their state-specific versions of this. We presented at something called Innovate US. And we already have some potential partnerships between the GrantWell team and some other states. So our hope is actually that, like so many other ways that Massachusetts has innovated, that this can be a tool that can be adopted and adapted for other state uses.
Thank you, Quentin. We had a couple of folks ask, is GrantWell ready for use right now? And where can they access the tool? We did put the tool in the chat. The tool is ready for use now. Folks can access it. And I'll also add that the tool is available on our website as well. You can just go to the link that we sent. But if you lose the link for whatever reason, you can just go to our office's website, the Office of Federal Funds and Infrastructure, on the Massachusetts government website, and you'll be able to find the link to the tool there as well. And we will certainly be sending out an email to everybody registered for this meeting with the link and relevant follow-up information.
Yeah, and a big thank you to those of you who have worked with us, as we've sort of beta tested this. As with any technology tool, we've learned a ton from user interaction, and we will learn a ton going forward. I'm sure there will be ways that as you use it, that you think it can be improved. We'd love to hear it. Tell us what your experience is with it, and it won't be perfect. It isn't perfect, and we want to iterate and get better over time. So, but yes, it's ready to use, and the link is in the chat.
And to that point, Quentin, we did have somebody already offer a little bit of feedback on the tool, and just want to reemphasize that if you go onto the tool, there is a place where you can provide feedback. So Anjeeth and his team can continue to iterate and improve the tool over time. So if you're using it and you have questions or things that you think would be helpful to improve or would make the tool more user-friendly, there is an opportunity to provide that feedback directly to us.
We love that. And we know it's not perfect. Our colleagues have done a tremendous job in developing this tool. We're very proud of it. But that said, there's a lot of room for growth, and we want that growth to be responsive to your feedback. So we've got thick skins. Bring it on and tell us how it can get better.
Right. We have another question here for Derek. So Derek Person said, our town has a LEAP grant that will complete a feasibility study to separate bicyclists from the roadway on a stretch of road between a rail trail facility and a MassDOT SUP, closing a gap. Would Safe Streets for All be a good avenue to take the SUP from a feasibility study to final design and construction?
Yeah, thanks, Amy, for the question. And yeah, I'd say just you should definitely reach out and we can talk about that project. I think the deadlines for obligating the Safe Streets for All funds were probably within a few years. So as long as we anticipate the design work would be complete. Actually, you're asking about, okay, final design. Yes, yeah, that would be definitely eligible for the program. I think there's some, hesitancy sometimes about bike infrastructure in particular at the federal level right now. So we can talk about how we might want to frame that, but certainly reach out and we can talk next steps.
Thank you, Derek. All right, we have another question for you, Derek. We have Betsy asking if the federal government still restricts applications for Safe Streets for All to projects that reduce the number of lanes or road diets.
Yeah, it's a good question. In the Build a NOFO that was out in the last round, they did have a few criteria in there that said that they would not be looking to, looking to fund projects that reduce lanes. They did not mention the term road diet. That's something, in federal grant applications, we've been advised not to use from federal partners, which we, of course, in Massachusetts, don't always agree with, but nonetheless, when we're thinking federal grants, that's what we like to just keep in mind. So we don't have the NOFO, so we don't know for sure, but it seems like that is kind of the current state of things, is that there's a little bit of a aversion to some of those project types, but that's something we can, like we did with build applications this past round, we've tried to, use other terminology and make sure we're appropriately addressing that. So happy to work with you on that too, Betsy. We'll keep an eye out for for language like that in the NOFO for sure.
I've got one more question here. So a question from Tony. The town of Pepperell is considering starting to put solar installations on town buildings. SolSmart has assessed our building's capacities. Is there a federal funding opportunity to support the project via subsidies, matching funds, or direct pay options? I might kick that question to our Deputy Director, Bob.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Tony. Yeah, it's possible. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act did place a number of restrictions on direct pay federal tax credit options. It may still be that these panels, provided that this town of Pefferell owns them, that if you put them into service before, I believe, the end of 2027, we have some more information on our website that we can share with you. You may be eligible for tax credits. Of course, we can't give accounting advice on this, but that's our read of the letter of the law. There are a couple of other restrictions, though, on the types of materials that are used and whether those qualify. So, Tony, I'd be happy to we can set up a time, maybe find 10, 15, 20 minutes to talk about it to see if it can work. And then just so that, we don't think matching funds would be state matching funds would be available for this, but if you were, Quentin had mentioned our MTTA fund, so the technical assistance grants that we have, seeking and using some tax assistance to sort out and even file for these kinds of federal tax credits, that's an eligible use so you could apply to our fund to cover costs related to that. So happy to find a couple minutes to chat. The answer is maybe, right? But happy to talk further.
Thank you, Bob. We have another similar question. At the October meeting that our office held in Leominster, I think we talked about federal grants available related to solarization. but there was a kind of start digging deadline of July 1st. Can you talk about that a bit more? I know you just sort of covered this, but want to make sure that question just gets addressed as well.
Yeah, I appreciate that question. I don't remember us talking about discretionary grants. My guess that because of this administration, that being the Trump administration, I don't think they've released any. But there are some rules about when you break ground starting in July of 2026 for federal tax credits. That's when new sort of requirements kick in. I'm just going to drop into the chat here so that everybody can see it. We have some new information that, I see one of my colleagues already did it, but we have some information on direct pay that we have. And there's also some we put in some slides from an organization called Lawyers for Good Government, but they have a webinar that we've linked to that can go into even more detail on this. So.
Anjith, we have another question for you from Chelsea. Chelsea asks, you mentioned that we can feed a project idea into GrantWell and it will match appropriate opportunities, but she doesn't see that in the tool. Can you clarify there?
Yeah, absolutely. So the feature what I was talking about is something we are still building on. So we are just refining it and we will be releasing it in upcoming weeks. So as of now, we only have the homepage with the tables, which you can categorize using the categories, the status and the grant.
Okay, I think I've worked through most of the questions in the chat. Anybody else have questions for Derek, Anjith, or our team? Okay. Anton, I might kick it back to you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. Thank you, Angie. Thank you, Derek. Thank you all for your great questions. We know others will come up as you start to use the tool. So feel free to reach out. As we mentioned, there are opportunities to give feedback on the tool. You can also always send us an email and let us know how it's going. And we're eager to understand use cases. If there are times that you use it and it's particularly useful, we'd love to hear why. So definitely stay in touch with us about that. We have upcoming meetings. This is, as you know, a monthly meeting. Please invite your colleagues if there are others that you think would benefit from this. Our next meeting is April 28th at 2 p.m. We also have meetings in May and June, May 26th and June 23rd. We have a newsletter that we send out twice a month, and we will send information from this meeting as well as the link to GrantWell out after this meeting. And we're thrilled that you're here with us today, and thanks so much.